Welcome everyone to this week's rapid recap, where we are going to discuss two different sets of vulnerabilities that have impacted healthcare environments this week. The first being Access7 and the second being TLStorm. So jumping right into it, a little bit of an overview of what these two technologies are. First, starting on the left there with ACETA and the Access7 vulnerabilities that impact their platform. This is a PTC company. It's an edge-driven platform that allows for IoT access and management. Effectively, it allows you to remotely control and manage your IoT devices within your environment. This set of vulnerabilities has impacted multiple industries, but we do know that healthcare is at least 50% of the known vulnerable footprint for this set of technologies. The impact is accelerated because this is used by many of PTC's customers and partners. Over 100 manufacturers are impacted, and over 150 devices across those manufacturers are impacted, meaning there are likely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of devices worldwide in healthcare environments that have the Access7 issues on them. And we'll talk about what those are in just a second. On the APC side of things, we have a set of vulnerabilities called TLStorm. APC is a Schneider Electric company. They create a bunch of different products, but one thing they create is UPSs, or uninterruptible power supplies, effectively those little bricks under your desk and in server rooms and in plenty of other places that make sure that if the power goes out, devices plugged into them continue to receive battery backup power. This also impacts multiple industries, including healthcare, although we don't know the full impact to the healthcare industry at this point. And it also highlights the issue of increasing connectivity amongst devices that you wouldn't expect it from, right? Effectively, what's now happening is that those little bricks, those little power supplies that you have throughout your environments are being connected to the internet and now introducing risks into your environment. Who would have thought that a simple battery backup could lead to outages? But that's where we are right now. To get a little bit more into the risk details, first, again, with Access7, there are 7 known vulnerabilities that have been released, hence the 7 and Access7. 3 of these vulnerabilities have a critical rating, and that's based on CISA ratings. The risks here are mostly around remote code execution, although there are other risks that have been found. This can allow for full device control, accessing of sensitive data information, and changing in device configurations. And when you consider that this goes from everything from infusion pumps that we all know are incredibly vulnerable, our recent data report showed exactly how vulnerable they are, to fleet monitoring and 150 different devices in between, it shows the real impact on healthcare environments, because now we have devices that are connected to patients that can be manipulated and controlled, like infusion pumps, that can have data leaked from them, like sensitive HIPAA information, and that can have their device configuration changed long-term to manipulate them in a variety of ways. So the Access7 issues are incredibly critical and need to be fixed very quickly. We'll talk about how to do that in just a second. On the APC side of things, we have TLStorm. There are only 3 known vulnerabilities here, but all are still critical. The risks are around buffer overflow and authentication bypass for the most part. This allows you to do things like turn off power or physically ruin devices. You can actually physically ruin the batteries and devices given these vulnerabilities. This can lead to really interesting attacks, like if someone were to attack the power grid in a hospital and the bricks, the UPSs at the same time, it could effectively leave a hospital without any emergency backups, which could be absolutely devastating. This impacts at least 20 million power supplies worldwide, which is just a mind-blowing number of physical little bricks out there. To get a little bit into prevention, PTC has released a patch, so good on PTC for reacting incredibly quickly to this. Sometimes with 0 days, that's all you can do, and they've done an outstanding job getting those patches out. The issue is that they also have to work with their vendors and their partners to get additional patches specific to those pieces of technologies that they've built. So if you have any of the products that are impacted by this, and do a quick Google search, you'll quickly find a list of products. You will see what their patch status is and what the steps you need to take. On the APC side of the house, there are some partially released patches that are available. Again, Google TLStorm and patches, those will pop right up. These do require firmware updates, which are sometimes a bit more tricky. And for those where there are not patches available, there are physical mitigations that are required. You have to go and physically kind of manipulate some of the settings on the UPSs. Now, if you have one or two UPSs, that's not a big deal. If you have hundreds or maybe thousands, if you're a bigger environment, that becomes a much bigger risk. So to prevent these types of attacks in the future and also consider stopping active attacks against them now, you should start to consider some best practices. Figure out how you can better control your vendor access. So only the vendors and only the endpoints or only the people, that need access to your devices have them. You should consider service hardening. So any exposed endpoints have a minimal attack surface. You should consider network segmentation so that if one of these devices gets attacked with something like malware, the malware doesn't jump to other devices, and we can gladly show you how to do that. And then finally, attack detection. One of the misconceptions we see quite a bit in healthcare is that traditional IT systems that are in place protect all the devices, when in fact they often focus just on Windows machines for the most part and associated technology, meaning more modern devices like IoT that we're seeing attacked here are not protected. So look at more modern attack detection technologies to help protect these your IoT devices. If you want references, there are plenty out there. You can Google, you'll see pages of results coming up. I prefer the Wired article for Access7. You can see the link there in the title. And for TLStorm, I thought the Threat Post article was quite good and informational. So I would recommend taking a look at those. If you do need help addressing either of these issues, let us know. We have two different sets of offerings that can help with these. The first is our attack detection and response technology, or ADR. Think of this in terms of triage and emergency response within hospitals. We put our technology in place incredibly quickly, low effort, high impact. We monitor findings, and if there is an active attack in your environment that other systems miss, we alert you of it, and we give you the specific guidance on how to stop it. So full support, no noise, quick to deploy, easy to protect. We highly recommend you reach out if you're concerned about any of these issues and active attacks that may come out of them. Longer term, we also have our risk reduction technology. So think of this more in terms of care and recovery, or eating your salad and going for a walk to make sure that you have good health long term. So we have multiple stages of rolling out critical IoT risk reduction, putting segmentation in place, et cetera. We have full roadmaps that you can follow, and of course, a full team that can help support those. So if you are concerned about these specific sets of vulnerabilities, or just your IoT footprint in general and how you can better secure it, let us know. We would be happy to talk to you in more detail. So please do contact us at www.scenario.com. My email is chad.holmes@scenario.com. Feel free to reach out directly if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Have a great day, everyone, and good luck.